Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I'm T of Crumpus Tea and Sewing here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. In today's video, I am finally doing my sewing room reveal. So if you are new to the channel, basically I just recently moved from Oregon to Indiana, and although I already had a space set up in Oregon, I am re-establishing my sewing room here in Indiana, and I want to share with you all what it looks like. It's very similar to the setup that I had in Oregon. However, because it's a new space, obviously things are going to be positioned in my sewing room a little bit differently, but the color scheme is the same. You know, my desk, my tables, my sewing machines, all that stuff is the same. But if you're new to the channel and you are interested in seeing my sewing room, stick around and I'll share with you all the details and share with you how I organize my fabrics and all that good stuff. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with this side of the room, just simply because this is the side of the room that's closest to the door. So when you walk into my door, this is the first thing that you see. So as you can see, I have a table and I have the little Halifax cabinet underneath the table, and I have one Serger heavy duty sewing machine over here, and then I have a little pegboard system on the wall that is the home of many of my rulers and some of my thread snippers, as well as scissors and snaps. And I also have a few buttons and things like that up here. So this is just a little system that I set up for myself, where I put current patterns in here, and then below that mesh basket I have a little notepad so that I can remind myself of certain things. Now this station here, I don't really sew at this station as much. I use this particular sewing machine specifically for buttonholes, and so it's always this particular machine is always set for doing buttons. And the reason why I do that is because it makes it easier on myself. So again, I don't really use the station all that often. I used to have a Babylock Diana machine here, my cover stitch machine, but it is currently in my shed. So I have a shed in the back of my house that has all my other craft items, things that are hobbies that I am involved in, but I don't really do things with those items on a daily basis. And so those things are out in the shed. So right next to this sewing station, I have one of my larger cabinets here. So this cabinet has all of my cotton fabrics, and at the very top there you see all my pressing items, my pressing tools, starch and things like that. And then on the bottom, I have some heavier fabrics. So this cabinet here isn't completely cleaned or completely done, just simply because I'm still finding things and I'm still trying to organize things from the move. However, it's pretty close, and so I just have to rearrange a few things, but it's pretty clean for the most part. As you go to the center of the room, you'll see my second station here. That is my dress form, and then I have a second pegboard system. And so this wall, I do all of my I use this pegboard system quite often, and I also use the station because I do all my work here at this particular station. And so I have my Serger heavy duty computerized machine, and then I also have my Brother 1034D over here as well. And then up on the pegboard, I have a few little bins where I have pattern weights, I have pens and needles, I have all my clothing labels, fabric check, button gauge, measuring tools, all that good stuff. So this system has served me very well. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, just simply because I just recently did a sewing room reveal on my channel last year around the same time. And I'll go ahead and link that video in an iCard and also put the link in the description box below so you could go over and check it out. I go into much more detail. I tell you where I got the pegboard systems. Like that video, in the description box of that video, you'll find all the goodies in that video, so check out that video. Okay, so moving along, on this side of the room you'll see my pressing station. It's not glamorous, but it gets the job done. So I have my ironing board over here, and then all my pressing tools are over here. So I used to have like one of those little caddies that you can hang on the back of your door, and you can put your ironing board underneath of it to hang your iron and also your iron. I no longer can use that system because I have a sliding door for my craft room, which is really annoying because I can't open and close the door as you would a regular door. It's just a sliding door and I really don't like it. So my husband's going to rip out the frame and replace the door. But it takes quite some time to do that, to update all of that. And so at the moment, I'm just going to go ahead and keep my iron out. It does take up quite a bit of space, which I'm not happy about. I have my cubbies inside the closet, and so it makes it so that I can have this additional space here without any worries. On this side of the room here, this is my cutting station here. It's kind of an awkward setup because behind the curtains, it's a closet back there, and I have additional fabric and things like that inside the closet. And so I constantly have to move the table to get to those items. But it's what I'm working with right now because the room is, it's not terribly small, but it's not as big as I want it to be. And so I do have to move items. I kept the same system of putting the curtains on the closet. So I didn't want to have a door there, you know, sliding doors or anything like that. So I just went ahead and I put a curtain rod up and curtains, which I like better. And yeah. So I'm going to go ahead, open the curtains so you can see what's in my closet. It's very similar to my previous setup, but I will show you anyway. Okay, so here we are. Here's the closet. As you can see, I have my cubbies in the closet, which I think is a really great idea if you want to save space out on your main floor. And so that's why I did that. So there's my little rolling cart. So I keep this in here mainly at night and whenever I'm not sewing so that I can declutter the room. But if I want to get to my fabrics, I do have to move that out, which is no biggie. I have these are all my interfacings here. I usually buy by the bulk, so they're all up there. In this tub over here, I have a few PDF patterns on, you know, that I have purchased from PDF plotting. So once I get those PDF patterns printed out, I'll just roll them up and put them in there until I can get to them. And then I have my tracing paper and stuff like that in there. All the way in the back, you're not going to be able to see, but all the way in the back, I put my lighting equipment back there. And then I kept this whole system of hanging my fabrics, which I think is really fun. I can't put too much on my shelf up there just simply because it bows a little bit, and it was like that before we purchased the house. So we are going to try to redo this space, probably knock out the wall so that I can get a bigger closet because the hallway is quite huge. So we have thought about doing some of that stuff, but we'll see. Mostly up there, I have my vintage patterns or older patterns that I don't use. I also have my lace, like in that wicker basket. I have my lace and my bra scrap materials, things like that up there, and my twill tape and my ribbons and all that stuff. That's the stuff that's up there. in these blue bins here. Those are all patterns. So yeah, that's basically the space here in the closet, and I just usually keep that closed, and I'm trying to keep it as neat as possible and clean as possible. I have a few UFO projects here, but I also have a small little bin that's similar to this, and I try to keep my UFOs to a minimum, and that's unfinished projects, if you're wondering what that acronym is for. But yeah, so I try to keep them to a minimum, and I keep them in a bin like this. And once that gets full, I try to commit to sewing all those UFOs. Right now, I just have those two right there. I pretty much finished everything from last year, so I'm really happy about that I don't have that many UFO projects. So, so yeah, so that's this closet section of the room. Next to the closet here is my second cabinet. Unfortunately, I was not able to put my cabinets near one another, or put this long cabinet here against this wall. It just would have been awkward. The way that this room is set up is kind of awkward. They have two windows, so these are two windows here side by side, which is kind of awkward. But here is the second cabinet here. And in this cabinet, I have all my knits. I tried to color code them by having the solid knits at the top with pastel colors separated from darker colors, but they get all mixed up sometimes. I have my printed knits down here, and then I have my sweater knits below the printed knits, and then all the way at the bottom you'll see my denim and my corduroy fabrics, and they are down there because they are quite heavy, and I feel like they should be at the bottom so they don't bow the middle rows there. So yeah, so that's basically my sewing room. It's not anything spectacular, but it gets the job done. I'm gonna go ahead and put this table back. So yeah, it feels really nice and very homey, and overall I'm really happy about this sewing room, and I'm glad to have this space and to call it my own. So yeah, if you all have any questions or comments about anything in my sewing room, you can always leave your questions and your comments in the comment section below. I hope you had fun touring my sewing room with me. Have a happy sewing week. And until next time, stay creative, my friends. Bye.